Good morning. Today we are going to see the different types of data which you have to use for data analysis. In my last session, I have explained to you what are the different types of data which we use, and we have explained what is a numerical data, what is a categorical data. So let's start today's session, and allow me to present the today's session. I'm sharing my screen. So good morning once again. Welcome to the session on research methodology. And today, our topic is choosing the right data type for analysis. So myself, Dr. Paul, from the research department, Faculty of Graduate Studies and Research, Associate Professor of Research. So let's start the day. Right. For a researcher, choosing the right type of data for analysis is the major part. Because we all know that a researcher, if he's not able to choose the right, identify the right data type, it all fails in a misery that when it comes for his analysis and testing, it will become so complicated. So for a research scholar, it is very important that the scholar should understand the kind of data he is handling and the type of data he is working with. So this session plays a pivotal role in the life of a research scholar. In my previous sessions, I've already explained to you what is a qualitative data and what is a quantitative data. So today, this qualitative data we often require for thematic and content analysis. I explained to you what is a thematic and content analysis because we work with qualitative data for that purpose. When we look at quantitative data, we really look into statistical tests like t-test, ANOVA, correlation, and regression. So you have to identify what data you're working with. Is that a qualitative data? So you have to use that respective kind of test or analysis for that your qualitative data. And when you have quantitative data, you have to use such kind of tests. So it is very important for the life of a research scholar to identify, recognize the type of data he or she is working with. Then we have a third kind of data type. It is called as ordinal or nominal data type. This is often we use it for non-parametric tests like chi-square test, Mann-Whitney U test. So such kind of tests we use ordinal and nominal kind of data type. And you know what is a nominal data and what is an ordinal data. A data which has an order is ordinal, otherwise it is nominal. So try to understand it in the perspective of simple languages. Don't confuse yourself because, when you look into different types of data, you'll be so confused. Oh my God, what is my data? What kind of data it is? To resolve this, we have to identify data types clearly. So in my previous session, I given a clear explanation to your numerical data. So that took a lot of time. Then we are coming to categorical data. Now we have text data, we have binary data, and we have date and time data that comes for time series. So today, what we are going to do, since we have done with numerical data in my last session, today we are going to see more on categorical data. So today's sessions will be on a categorical data. I'll explain you the categorical data. Then we'll go for a sample research. And with that research, we'll see how this categorical data is used for hypothesis testing. So we'll see the steps for doing the hypothesis testing also using this categorical data. Of course. So, when you watch this video, take a pen, paper, or a notebook and keep writing notes. Because when I study with my professors, I understand that just watching a video doesn't make sense. So you should attend this video like you sit in a class and you should start writing. When you start writing, it will help you. Maybe I'll be going a bit fast because otherwise, the video will be so lengthy. All right. So you can pause in between and you can note down and you can watch again and start practicing with your micro research what you're doing. So now, when you look at your micro research, now you should be able to identify, okay, my data is this category, certain set of data are in another category. Now I have to use a certain, the type of test for that one. This is more important for a researcher. So if you know this, your life is easy, right? So let's see what is a categorical data. Now, if you look at categorical data, it is a data type, and that can be divided into categories. A data type that can be divided into categories. Say like you can divide the things what you get from market as fruits, vegetables, tubers. So it is a categorical data, isn't it? But if you count the number of potatoes, then it becomes a numerical data. And if you check, if you categorize the potatoes into three sizes, medium, small, and large, then it becomes a categorical data. Even in categorical data, you can involve the number, how many medium-sized potatoes you have. So, it's a bit confusing, but if you have a thorough understanding, you will know what is a categorical data. So the data which has attributes that can be divided into distinct groups can be called as, or categories can be categorical data. To sum up, the data, what you have collected, if you can divide into distinctive categories, it will be called as a categorical data. I'll give you the examples for this. Select, it can be a qualitative in nature, or it can be a category in a meaningful way. So you just think, if you look at human beings, in what categories we can categorize them? If you look at the vegetations, the vegetables, what we found in the market, how we can categorize them? If you look at the the vegetations on the earth, we can categorize them, isn't it? Bush, shrubs, creepers, trees. These are categories. So what you categorize, that makes a categorical data. But it's you researcher, you have to decide how I have to categorize, how is my research going on. So there is no pinpoint rule that, or a rule of thumb that you have to do like that. But the rule of thumb is your research and the perspective on which you're working with your research question and your hypothesis. So let's see the key features of a categorical data. Non-numerical in most cases. So like the values are labels or names and not numbers, isn't it? So let's look at the example. Say like if gender, you can put numerical values when you categorize them. All male you give 1, females you give 2, and if you have nowadays we have a number of genders, so you can put another category. So what I'm saying, this is how you are categorizing data. Look at once again, you have male and female in gender, so you categorize and you label male with 1 and female with 2. So you are putting numbers here, but these numbers are not the counts. These numbers are how you categorize your data for analysis. So we can say male and female is a categorical data. Then another data is called as discrete category, which means that this data belongs to one category only. There is no overlap between these categories. I don't know, nowadays we have an overlap between gender, isn't it? So I don't want to explain that much more. But I'll tell you, there is no overlap between water and biofuels, isn't it? So it will not overlap, they are separate. There is no overlap between egg and cassava or tapioca, because egg is produced by hen and cassava that you get as a tuber. So this category, so you can categorize eggs and tubers, isn't it? So what I'm saying, it is discrete. They don't overlap each other. That is the second type of categorical data. So example, if you take the animals in a zoo, lion, tigers, elephant, giraffe, zebras, these are categories. If you take gender, male, female. So, discretion is more important. The third one is no mathematical meaning, which means that when you put male as 1, female as 2, there is no mathematical meaning in that one. There is no mathematical. Instead, we just categorize the data. So the third category doesn't have mathematical meaning. So let's, when you look at this categorical data, this broadly can be divided into two: nominal data and ordinal data. I repeat, the categorical data can be again divided into two. One is nominal data, and the other one is ordinal data. So what is a nominal data? There is no order, there is no ranking. So if nominal, normal. We don't want to make something big or small in the data set. They are normal. So these are just to distinguish between the groups. All right. So this is nominal data. Say like if you make gender, male and female, it's nominal. Now, if you take ordinal, so let's see the examples. Gender, male, female, non-binary, the color of the hair, black, brown, blonde, and red. We have categories, nationality, American, French, Indian, Ugandan. So these are nominal data. Now, this can be ordinal data if you try to put nationality based on the GDP of a country. Then it becomes ordinal, isn't it? Within nationality, you can see some ordinal values. So what I'm saying, no ordinal, the categories have a meaningful order with the ranking. And the intervals are measurable. So you can rank categories. See, as you see the animal categories, you can categorize them by weight. You can categorize them by the inhabitation which they have. You can categorize them what they take, carnivorous, herbivorous. So, this is how, it's you researcher has to identify. But the basic fact, you have to identify, you have to assimilate, okay, what is my data and what kind of data I am working with. For example, if you take the education level, it is an ordinal because the bottom one high school, then you go to a pre-university or undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate. So that part is an ordinal. Now, satisfaction. You can make it the satisfaction level. Very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, unsatisfied. Rank in a competition. First rank, second rank, third rank. The grades what you get in a performance. So A, B, C. So, this is ordinal. Nominal, ordinal. So categorical data classified into two: nominal data, which doesn't have an order or a ranking, and ordinal data, the data which we put in an order. So these are the two kinds of categorical data. Now let's work on some examples of categorical data. The color of cars. You categorize the cars by color: red, blue, black, and white, isn't it? Now let's see the customer feedback: satisfied, unsatisfied. Let's see the type of cuisine: Italian, Ugandan, East African, Chinese, Mexican, Indian. So this is another category. So marital status, that is another category: single, married, divorced, widowed. So when you work with your research, when you start, you should have an idea how this data comes from. The data comes from your variables, your dependent variable, independent variable, intervening variable, control variable. All these things will decide the type of data with which you are working with. So these are some examples of categorical data. Now, how we are going to use categorical data research? Why I'm saying so much about data? Because data is the basis for data analysis. Now, where is the data comes from? The data comes from your variables, your propositions. So it's very important. Everything is interconnected. If the connection is lost, if there is a deviation, it creates a problem. For some researchers, I used to see, they already set everything. They set their hypothesis, they find their variables, the connection, what they are going to test. Knowingly or unknowingly, when they collect data or when they make the instrument to collect data, they make mistakes. They may not collect the required data, or they does not properly categorize the data. So I have observed that they remap, the re-engineer the hypothesis, and variables and the link between the variables based on the data collected. I say people are too intelligent, man. But you look one side. You have gone for a question of your own. Now, where are you now? You have totally deviated. It's like you plan for a car and you are going for a motorbike, isn't it? So this is very important because at any point of time, a researcher has to ensure the data and the data types and the type of data is going to deal with. So what I say, when we use categorical data, these are analyzed. These categorical data, we normally analyze following counts, percentages. So, this is the distribution across categories. You can see a distribution across the categories. We cannot do so much descriptive statistics on that one, but you can, at least you can count, you can do the number of percentage of men and the number of animals in the zoo. If you take the total number of animals in the zoo, the percentage of animals. So you can see, you get a distribution, how they are distributed. So these are the things what we use when you work with categorical data. And understand one thing, your research will have different kinds of. You will have numerical, you will have qualitative, you have categorical. So you should know how you are going to make your analysis. That's very important. That is why I'm saying this understanding data is very important. For example, now you have a question, a satisfaction. So you may ask how many respondents said satisfied in the survey, isn't it? So you can do an analysis. The percentage of people do satisfied. The percentage of people who said don't, I'm not satisfied. So this is how you do percentage analysis. Now, the common statistical test, what we use with categorical data. This is very important because you cannot use other kind of tests. So let's look into the common thing. As I told you before, it is very difficult for a researcher to study all the statistical tests. Study what you need. And always I tell you, associate with a statistician. We have good statisticians in the region. So associate with them. Because sitting at home, nothing will come on your desktop. So get connected, get collaborated. That's going to change your life. So one kind of test, what we can use, normally we all use that one in our master projects. And you professors also, you as teachers use this many times to guide your students when they do the master's and bachelor's project. One is chi-square test, where it is used to find the association between two categorical variables. So that is important. So we can use chi-square test. Then we can use Fisher's exact test, but your sample size is small. You can use Fisher's exact test. I'm not going to explain what is Fisher's test now. I'm not going to explain chi-square test now. But understand, these are the tests what we use when you work with categorical data. Then we can use logistic regression. So this when we use to find out when the dependent variable is a categorical variable. Just think. I'm not going to give you an example. Just think, if your dependent variable is a categorical variable, then how you are going to work? You are going to use logistic regression. So I'm going to give a thought process. Just think of a research in which you have independent and dependent variables. When your dependent variable is a categorical kind of thing, what kind of research it will be? So in that case, you will use logistic regression. But if you go back, if you look at your micro research, because you are doing micro research from in various domains, so you can understand your data and what kind of analysis you have to use. But typically today we are talking only about categorical data and how to analyze it. Now, this is more important. What I explained up to now, I'm going to explain with the sample research. So the research title here, the impact of ICT training on employee productivity in small IT firms. Okay. I've made very clearly the impact of ICT training on employee productivity in small ICT firms. So we are going to see, I'm going to say the stages in which I'm going to do now. What is the first stage? My variables, my research variables. So I have seen my independent variables. I put it as IV. Okay, my independent variables. So The independent variables are the type of ICT training. Type of. So it is a category. One category, no training. One is in-house training. The second one, external training. Third one, online. If you want a blended, you can put that. You see how I'm categorizing training? No training, in-house training, external training, online training. Now, it is you, the researcher, should decide in the type of training, which all training methods you are going to study, isn't it? So, your independent variables are there. So, what will be the dependent variable? The dependent variables, there's only one thing we are going to check on. That what is our title? The training and the productivity, how they are related. So dependent variable, I put it as DV, that is employee productivity. That also I am put into category. So I made 3 categories: high, medium, low. Right? Are you getting me? This is how we have to frame. This is how you have to frame your research. So I found my dependent variables. I have identified my independent variable. I've identified my dependent variable. Now, there are some variables which are called control variables. You know, this as a category, but is ordinal, because if you look at your organization, the people who are more experienced, less experienced. So I'm trying to place my employees in certain categories, or it is an ordinal category, less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 4 to 6 years, more than 6 years. I hope you are getting me how we are going to place your variables, how we are going to categorize your variables. Now, if you, as I told in my last session, you always should have a printout, a blueprint of your micro research with you. I request you all to look into that and try to identify in my independent variable, how many are category? In my dependent variable, how many are categorical? In my control or intervening variables, how many are ordinal or nominal category? Right? You may find different types of data types, because the exercise here, if you look at your variables, first you try to tick and identify which are the categorical variables in your research study. It can be in independent variables, it can be in the set of dependent variables, it can be in the set of control variables or intervening variables. So that is the first exercise what you have. If you are able to identify that, life is made. Life is made. So what I'm saying now, so I'm saying I'm working with a micro research, the ICT training and effect on employee productivity. So I'm making my hypothesis. I'm making only one hypothesis here. One hypothesis, a null hypothesis and an alternate hypothesis. So null hypothesis, Ashok, there is no significant association between type of ICT training and employee productivity levels. That is one. There is no association. Now, what is alternate? There is a significant association between the ICT training and employee productivity in small IT. So I'm very clear. I'm very clear what is my hypothesis. I'm very clear. I hope we are together. See, this is how we have to make our life easy, because a researcher's life will be easy when things are going good. You can see the glows of sun on my head between the trees. I love nature. I'm so happy. It's a bright day, but with clouds we have. So now the next step, I'm going to collect my data. Here I told I'm only working with categorical data. So, but in your research, you have different kinds of data. So, the tools of collection, the scales in which you have to standardize, everything will be different. So in this particular study, I'm going to collect data samples from small IT firms. Okay, so how I am going to collect? I collect ICT training, whether they receive yes training, no training, or what kind of training. Because you look back, my variables, my independent variables, 0 training, no training, in-house, external, online. So whatsoever. So in that nominal, the data I'm going to collect. Then after that, also I'm looking to the perceived productivity, that 3 categories, ordinal categories. The other one was, look at the ICT training is nominal, but the other one is ordinal. So low, medium, high. Now, and after that, what is next? So this collected data is going to be used. Now, I'll tell you, when you look at the type of training here, it is a nominal one. Now I'm changing that one. If I put three kinds of training, normal training, advanced training, highly advanced training, three kinds of training I am giving, then the training nominal become ordinal training, isn't it? So, the research, you have the full freedom to categorize, to ordinalize your variables. But it should be in an appropriate way. If you don't understand the data types, you cannot do it. If you don't understand your variables, in which type of data it is going to come, your research and your analysis will be totally wrong. So that is why I'm saying you, as a scholar, a PhD scholar, it is good to know more and more about the types of data. So this will help. So as we told, the next stage is data collection and how to make the data. And after that, what we do data analysis, right? So as I told you, in category, I'm going to use chi-square test. So chi-square test is very important because I have independent variable. What is independent variable? The kind of ICT training I am. What is a dependent variable? The perceived productivity level. So I'm going to do a chi-square test for independence, isn't it? So in that one, what are the steps for doing this hypothesis test? This is important. This you watch properly, note it down. These are the steps. The first step, as I told, I set my hypothesis. So I put my null hypothesis as well as I put my alternate hypothesis. So I done my step one. Now, the second step, collecting data. So I done a survey. I collected the data on two things. One is type of training they are getting and the outcome, what is being perceived out. So that is my second stage. The third one, since it is a chi-square testing and I'm using a contingency table. So you have to study well on how to do a chi-square test. So the data is arranged into a table showing the frequency of distribution of employees based on the training type and productivity. So, the type using the variables, I'm making a contingency table. I'm showing that contingency table. Look at here, the ICT training, that is the first column. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 categories are there. No training, in-house training, external training, online training. Now, productivity, I have 3 categories, which are ordinal, isn't it? Not nominal. ICT training is nominal, so ordinal. That is how we are going to make the table, how we are going to make the association. Low productivity, medium productivity, high productivity. So, and out of the total 170, I'm seeing 20 people, no training, low productivity, but 5 people high productivity. So I assume that the people are more experienced, they have high productivity. So this is what is called as contingency table. You can pause, you can take screenshot and see how the table is. So categorical variables that comes, the ordinal variables, which all way it has to come in the table is well explained, isn't it? I hope it is clear for you. So when you create the contingencies table, what is the next step for that one? We are going to perform the chi-square test. If you are going to perform the chi-square test, what is a must? We have to use the chi-square test formula that you can check and you can, you have that formula. So we are going to apply that formula. So the expected frequencies are calculated based on the marginal totals of the contingency table. So you work with the frequencies and ultimately you are going to interpret the results. So when you work with chi-square, significance value is very important. So we take the p-value of the chi-square test. And for social science, we use 0.05. But if it is a medical or other things, it is 0.01 or less than that. So you put that significance level, and based on that, you do the chi-square testing. I already told you when you do hypothesis testing, how you take that significant level, the p-value, and how you calculate the alpha. And based on that, you can make the relationship between whether there is a relationship between ICT training and employee productivity. So I already told you the steps through which you have to go when you are doing a hypothesis testing, if you are using a categorical variable. So, and if the p-value is greater than significant level, we fail to reject null hypothesis, and we say that no relation. So this is how we are going to do it. and we interpret the result. So since it is a hypothetical result, we say, I'm saying the possible options, the chi-square test yields a significant result, P less than 0.05. It indicates that ICT training has a association. But if P is more than that one, there is no association, isn't it? So like that, you interpret the results, and from that you can find that maybe external training are more importance on productivity, or like that you can make your analysis. So from this test, you make the relation between your dependent variable and your independent variable, isn't it? Here in this case, the research what I told, the dependent variable is a categorical variable. The independent variable is a categorical variable. But the difference is that the independent variables are nominal, isn't it? They are nominal. The type of training, zero training, it's nominal. In-house, online, external, isn't it? But the productivity is categorical, but it is ordinal. See, I am arranged in it. High, medium, low, isn't it? So you see here in my research, I have two types of variables, independent and dependent, and intervening variable. And based on that, I have done an hypothesis. So here, understanding the data is the first primary part. What kind of statistical analysis you have to do? And if you fail to understand your data, it will be difficult for you what kind of test style we use. So that is why I'm stressing on understanding data, data types, categories, different variety of data. We have only done up to what is qualitative data, quantitative data, and categorical data. Still, we have data coming. So don't worry. It's a slow, gradual process. See, you all have studied this till your postgraduate programs. Some of you have done research. It is good for you. You just refresh. Those for others, it is new. Don't worry. You will do. Everyone is in the same boat. Gradually, you will progress. It takes time. So repeatedly doing things will help you to understand things constructively in a better way. So to conclude, so my research conclusion, not the conclusion of the session, my research has found out that, the ICT training programs have an impact on employee productivity in small IT firms. I'm very focused. I'm very skewed on my work. Okay. So by using the categorical data, the type of training and productivity levels, me as a researcher explored the relation between training approach to workforce performance. So to a small population of small IT firms, if I can do that, a small category, I can, that using that sample, I can explore the population, isn't it? So this becomes an actionable research. Your research should make an outcome. This becomes an actionable research. So, but a quick recap of what I told you today. I told you in the beginning about categorical variables or categorical data type. And we explained how this can be placed, understanding them. And after that, we have seen the steps for using hypothesis testing. The first, set your hypothesis, collect data. It is a reaffirmation of every time. Repeatedly, this will help you more because in all my sessions, I'm giving a sample research. So set hypothesis, collect data, create a contingency table, then perform a chi-square test, interpret the results, isn't it? So today what we have seen, and after interpretation of the results, you can conclude. So today, to sum up, in the small time, what we have seen about categorical variables, how they are classified, and we used a small research, how we are using that one. And I hope this session has given you a good insight on categorical variables. Remember, research is a long process. Every day you learn to know new things. So if you work, if you assimilate, if you have that attitude, definitely you'll be learning more and more. So in your due course of time, you learn more and more. But I tell you, for the time being, just focus on your micro research. So because this micro research is what we're doing now is going to help. And somebody watching this video, if they are not done a micro research, just put a title and you can also get connected with me. I put my contact details because I love people who work with research. Research for global subsistence. That's very important. We can create a sustainable global development process through collaboration. Let's work together. So if you need any assistance, I put my WhatsApp number. You can just contact me. Feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help you. So this is Dr. Paul signing off from Kampala, from Isbat University. So thanks for today. Thanks for listening to me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.